Welcome to Stanislaus Football Weekly, and now for your hosts, Joe Cortez and Brian VanderBeek.
Hi, welcome to the show. I'm Joe, this is Brian, and we're here for another postseason edition of SFW. Let's start with our Division 4 matchup, which is this Friday night between Sonora and Central Catholic, the two-time defending champion. It's an all-Stanislaus District affair.
At Lincoln High at 7 o'clock, Lincoln High at Stockton. Great little venue. Love that place.
Fantastic venue.
Yeah. It's a little bowl. It's kind of cool. Horseshoe kind of bowl feeling there.
It
Good
is.
stuff.
It is. Yeah, the fans are right there close to the field. There's no track there. You're right on the sidelines, and it's just a great high school venue.
Yep.
Hey, before you and I get into this game, let's listen to head coach Roger Canepa talk about this Friday's matchup.
I think a lot of programs, they complain about, hey, we don't have the kids to win and do this and that, and they did hard work. You know, they built the weight room up, they come to summer camps, and I think that coaching staff, I know them personally. Some of them coached with me, I hired them, and I think they've done a great job to get Sonora back to where it should be.
So as you know, Brian, Roger spent 12 years as the head coach in Sonora, and he's responsible for bringing Sonora head coach Brian Craig into the program. He hired him back in '91 to coach the freshman team, and now Roger has two nephews playing. He has another nephew coaching. His brother actually coaches at one of the lower levels, so it's going to be a rough Thanksgiving for the Raider up in Sonora. In fact, let's listen to what he had to say about that.
Well, I told everybody I was going to go to the Kentucky Fried Chicken, but I was joking. I'm actually going to go to my brother's house with the whole family and stuff, and then just make sure they don't give me food poisoning or anything. So I'm going to make sure I, eat with them and everything. And the same thing, it's family, so same thing I do every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that reminds me of that comedian, Ron White, who says, he says, my brother's a doctor, my sister's a lawyer, and boy do I hate Thanksgiving. That's great stuff. Yeah, thanks Roger for that. But it'll be an interesting game. I mean, Sonora riding high, having ridden through their first Mother Lode League season.
That's right.
Coming in hot. I was up at Sonora about a week and a half ago for playoff volleyball, and I could even feel the football vibe. They want Central Catholic. They believe that this is their year to beat the Central Catholic, and we're going to see how that plays out. One thing that's I found interesting about that bracket, the entire bracket has played out according to seed. Every higher seeded team has won and prevailed, and so we have a 1 versus 2 in this championship game.
Yeah, I was talking to Brian Craig up at the section walkthrough and banquet on Sunday, and they're real excited, and their launching pad was that second half against Oakdale. They came out in the first half, and he told me that they didn't play well, and he went in and told the guys, hey, is this what it's going to be like? Are we just going to lay down to Oakdale again just because it's Oakdale? They came out, it was a much more competitive second half, and since then, they haven't been touched.
Interesting. Sonora just comes at you with running back after running back. 5 running backs with over 300 yards this season for the season. Billy Kirlick, 110 carries, 684 yards. One thing that I found interesting is the team averages 8 yards per rush. That's pretty impressive.
It is. Billy Kirlick is Roger's nephew.
One of them.
One of the two. Bradley Canepa, the sophomore linebacker, hard hitter. He's the other.
Well, let's pick this thing.
I'm going to go with Central Catholic. I think they probably just got a little too much firepower, a little too much mystique. But I think it's going to be a close game. I think Sonora's going to be right there, much like Escalon was last week.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be all that close. The emerging star in the district this year, Justin Rice, with 1,585 yards rushing and 27 scores. I like Central Catholic in this game. I like the experience of the Central Catholic team in these situations, and that's why I like them to win.
Yeah.
On a turf they're very familiar with.
That's right.
Up at Lincoln High.
That's right.
Let's move along to the Division III semifinal. That's also Friday night when Rio Linda visits Oakdale at the Corral, and I guess you had a chance to talk to some Oakdale folks.
I talked to Trent Merzon, the head coach, and let's listen to what he said.
Coach, you've got a special backfield this year with Daris Nelson, Frankie Trent, and Brock Whiting. You've never had 3 backs go over 1,000. It could happen this year. Have you ever had a backfield this special?
We've had a lot of special backfields here, and I don't like to you coach long enough, you don't like to compare our different backfields. If we've had good ones, $1 million, this group's special. They're great kids. They're great character kids. They're unselfish. They work hard for each other. They carry out fakes. They put the team above themselves. They do all the little things that grinding out a 13, 14 game season entails. They work hard in the off season. This group's special. Are they the most special we've ever had here? We've had some great groups here in the past, and it's hard to compare one to another.
Sure. Hey, when you game plan, do you look at a team and say, this week it calls for a big load of Frankie Trent, this week it's a big Daris Nelson type?
No, we really don't. We go into every game just thinking we're going to run buck, boot, and trap our 3 base plays, and then we're going to run variations off those 3 plays, and whatever it is you decide you want to take away, then the other guy's going to have a big day. It just seemed like this year, when 47 goes crazy, then the other for a couple weeks they really focus on taking away him, and then it opens up the edge with 21-4, and then Daris had a couple of really big games, monster games. I think he scored 5 touchdowns in the game or 4 touchdowns in the game, and in fact, he scored 5 touchdowns, I believe, in the game. We had back-to-back weeks. Frankie scored 4, then Daris scored 5, and then the next week, Frankie scored 6. So it depends on what people are seeing on film and what scares them worse. And Daris has the ability, and Brock has the ability to score right now from anywhere on the field. Brock can really, really run. Daris is really shifty and can run, and Frankie is just the most consistent guy we've had all year long, and he pounds the rock and does his special thing, and they're all 3 uniquely different, but a lot of it depends on what the defenses want to take away, and I don't know what they want to take away. I do think, and our kids believe, that it's impossible to take all 3 of them away. We're going to get our opportunities, and like I mentioned before, without what's going on up front, these guys don't have an opportunity. They probably all mentioned that to you too, and right now Zach Quasha does a great job with the O-line, and our receivers do a great job blocking for him. It really takes 11 on the field to get 1,000-yard rusher. We already have 2. We're hoping to get 3. But to be honest with you, I just broke down our stats a couple games ago. I haven't done the last 2 weeks, so we really don't get caught up in many numbers around here. The only number we're worried about is trying to put another one in the win column this week.
So Oakdale High, of course, has that triple header threat in the backfield. Frankie Trent, the fullback, wingback Daris Nelson, and tailback Brock Whiting.
Yeah.
The 2 of them, Trent and Nelson, are over 1,000 yards this year, and Whiting is around 800, so they're closing in. But Rio Linda also has, quite a multiple threat backfield. Marcel Brown, Calvin Robinson, and quarterback Zach Burden.
Yeah, like I said, but they also can, like Oakdale. I'd love to see Adam Olson throw the ball more for Oakdale. They really haven't had to.
But he can.
Maybe they will have to this week, or if they win this week, maybe next week.
Yeah.
One thing I mentioned when you mentioned about Sonora averaging 8 yards per rush, Rio Linda averages 8.2 yards per rush and 8.2 yards per passing attempt. They're averaging 45 points a game this year. Now, granted, there are not a lot of great defenses up there, although they did run into Intercom themselves. But that's a very, very potent offense that Oakdale's either has to stop or match scores against.
Yeah.
And I know Oakdale probably wanted a rematch with Sierra, but I think they're just a little bit more than happy to get a home game instead.
Sure, I think so. Rio Linda has 3 receivers who have caught more than 300 yards, or totaled more than 300 yards receiving this year. Seth McCoy, Jeremiah Hampton, and Antoine Brooks. And they also have caught more than 25 balls apiece. Well, Brooks has caught 23. So they've got a lot of options there. What do you think?
Oakdale at home. I just don't have to think long about this. Great run for Rio Linda, a program with a lot of history. They've been here before, but I just think going to the Corral is just going to be too tough for them. And I just don't see anybody stopping Oakdale in offense right now.
Yeah.
The only way Rio Linda wins this is if they get into a full-scale shootout.
Sure. I was interviewing Coach Merzon about that backfield for a story I'm going to do that'll appear in the Modesto Bee on Thanksgiving morning. It's pick your poison.
Yeah.
You want to take away the middle, we'll go outside on you.
Yeah.
You want to stop the outside, we'll go up the middle and trap you to death.
Yeah.
And I don't think Rio can stop Oakdale.
Yeah. Well, the last game we're going to talk about today is the Division VI final, which is Saturday at 6 o'clock at the Great Bowl. Every time I go to the Great Bowl, I'm just impressed about the improvements they make to that facility. It's just a wonderful place to watch high school football.
I've never
now.
been.
Oh, you got to check it out.
I think I'm gonna.
There you go. Capital Christian versus MC, another rematch at the Great Bowl. Division VI final, 6 o'clock Great Bowl on Saturday. And before we talk about it, Modesto Christian coach Mike Parsons had this to say about the matchup.
We have a serious, tough task in front of us with Capital Christian. Coach Graham and his O-line coach both come from Granite Bay, and it's a statewide known school for success. And he spent a lot of years there, and you can tell he knows his stuff. The guys are very strong fundamentally. They read their keys. They're rarely out of place, so we got to come up with some ideas to get them out of their position, and hopefully get loose on with Chris or Shoddy or Connor. And the defensive, we just got to be sound and contain number 9. He's a special kid, and he's one of the best in the area. So we can contain him a little bit and take care of the football, which we didn't do in the first game. We got a chance.
Well, that number 9 that Mike Parsons was talking about is sophomore running back Justice Shelton Mosley for Capital Christian, who has 865 rushing yards, 18 scores in 9 games, for Capital this year. But in that first meeting, we're going back to that first meeting. Now that's Modesto Christian's only loss this year.
Right.
23-22. It was Modesto Christian's first game.
In Sacramento.
In Sacramento. It was Capital Christian's second game. Their home opener. Capital Christian won that 23-22, scoring a touchdown with 1:32 left, getting the 2-point conversion. Modesto Christian had 95 yards in penalties, several turnovers. They outgained Capital Christian 310 to 284, held Capital Christian to 3.4 rushing yards per rush, while averaging 6.3 themselves. That was the shakedown cruise for Modesto Christian in that game. And they also have a sophomore of their own in Chris Brown.
Chris Brown. Explosive Chris Brown.
Tremendous year. 1,469 yards rushing this year, 22 scores. He had 114 yards and 2 scores in that first game. And now we know Modesto Christian is much more diverse. I think you can tell which way
you're leaning. Yeah, I know where you're leaning.
Yeah, Modesto Christian in this game, despite Cap Christian winning that first game, I see Modesto Christian by, and I don't want to give bulletin board fodder to the people up in Sacramento, 3 scores.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I like Modesto Christian as well. I think the movement a team makes in high school football between week 1, or week 0 in this case, and week 1, first and second games of the season, is tremendous. That was a big plus for Capital Christian, having a game under its belt. Modesto Christian's coming out, has to travel, not really sure what it has. I mean, I think at that point with the new coach, less than 20 guys on the roster, I think maybe they weren't as sure of who they were and what they could do as they are right now.
There's no question.
And I'm going to pick Modesto Christian in a close one.
In a close one. Well, that's it. That's our 3 games. So we like Central Catholic to win Division 4.
That's right.
We like Oakdale to advance to Division 3 final. We like Modesto Christian to advance, not to advance, to win Division 6, but maybe to advance. Because that's one thing we might be able to broach here is a possible Modesto Christian Central Catholic NorCal playoff game.
It could happen.
Because the ruling came in against McClymonds, who was ahead of Modesto Christian in the rankings, in the NorCal unofficial rankings. The quarterback ruled ineligible. That's going to be 4 forfeit losses. The CIF has a history of teams who have to forfeit games despite going on to win their section, not being eligible for that NorCal game. So we'll see. It's going to be up to the CIF whether it's McClymonds again for a 3rd time against Central Catholic, final. Or whether they let Modesto Christian into that, or they go somewhere else.
That would be something.
It would be terrific to see Modesto Christian and Central Catholic. It'd be nice if they're here in Modesto, but it won't be. It'll be probably back up at Lincoln.
And if Sonora were to win, that they probably would not. They're they're in the Division 3 NorCal playoff picture, and they would have to leapfrog too many teams, so it probably wouldn't be a NorCal final for them.
Right.
So Central and MC would make it an all-district NorCal regional.
Well, there we go. Now, we took some pictures last week. Our fine photographers
we always do.
Field always do. So we can't let you go without seeing some of these photos.
Hey, and before we go, Beek, we got to talk about one more game in Division 7, Stone Ridge Christian versus Elliott Christian of Lodi. When these two teams met in their CCAA battle this year, Elliott won 20-13 in Merced. They're playing at the Lodi Great Bowl on Saturday at noon. Essentially a home game for Elliott.
Yeah.
What do you like?
Well, it's tough. I think just Stone Ridge is on a roll right now. It doesn't matter where they play. They're going to want revenge, a lot like Modesto Christian, going to want revenge. And I like the revenge factor despite the fact that Elliott's going to be home at the Great Bowl. I like Stone Ridge in this.
I'm going to go with Elliott just because they're playing essentially a home game and they proved they can beat Stone Ridge and they did it in Merced. I'll go with Elliott in this one.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We have 2 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday in the same location. Both those games Saturday at the Great Bowl at noon and 6. So if you want to, go see that noon game, go grab a bite to eat, come back, pay again, which you're going to have to do anyway, and then go watch Modesto Christian 6. Go see one of those games on Friday. You're running out of time to have just to go out and have a great football weekend.